happy, 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 happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy, 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 happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy, 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 happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy, 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 happy Wednesday, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good day, whatever time you are watching this, whatever day you are watching it. Happy day, happy morning, happy afternoon, happy evening, happy midday, happy whatever time of day it is for you. I pray that you all are well. I pray that your families are well. I pray that your day went absolutely fantastic. I pray that you smiled because y'all know I'm really, really big on that. I pray that you smiled more than you frowned. I pray that you laughed more than you cried in sadness. In fact, I pray that your day was full of joy. I pray that you smiled. I pray that you smiled, smile, 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 smile. So, hello everybody. My name is Dr. JaNee Mobley. I'm affectionately known as Dr. JaNee, and I help women turn their purpose into a profitable business, all while teaching them to overcome mindsets that prevent profit, progress, and prosperity. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. As you come in, make sure you take the text, hit that share button on your phone, on your computer, hit the share button and send this to about 2 or 3 people. Invite them in. So, tonight I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to tell you all a story and then I'm going to lead into the content. Also, I want to make sure that I draw your attention to the link below. This is my free gift to you. It is the 5 mistakes that women make that prevent them from profiting from their purpose. So if you are a woman who knows that you want to profit from your purpose, you want to make money doing what it is that God created you and formed you to do, make sure you click the link below and grab access to that. So tonight I wanted to share a story. So to kind of give context. So this morning, because I love how God just loves us so much that he'll teach us things through other people's experiences. He'll teach us things through our own experiences. And one thing that I truly understand is that when we mature, we can see more than we could have seen before, right? So this morning, as I was preparing the kids to transition out of the house so that they can go to school, our daughter was putting on her shoes. And I noticed that she was sitting on the floor, forcing her feet into these high tops. Like she was literally forcing her feet into these high top shoes. And I watched her for a minute because I was sitting here thinking to myself, let me see how long this is going to go on. So I saw her starting to get frustrated and agitated, but she's steady forcing her foot into the shoe, right? Mind you, the shoelaces are tight and she's forcing her narrow feet because look, our children have some narrow feet. They get that from their dad, some really narrow feet. Like her feet are probably, because she's 5, so her feet are probably literally maybe that wide. Like they all have narrow feet. It is the most interesting thing ever. And my husband has narrow feet. And she's literally forcing her foot into the shoe, forcing her foot into the shoe, and she's getting frustrated. She's getting aggravated. And after a while, I stopped. I stopped her and I asked her, I said, is that working? And she looked at me and she said, no. And my first question was to myself, why are you continuing to do something that's not effective? Why are you continuing to do something that's not working? Why are you continuing to put yourself in a position where you're getting emotional, where you're getting frustrated, where you're getting agitated? And it made me sit and think about how us, because she's 5, but how we as grown-ups, and I'll talk about me. I'll talk about me. How many times I have tried to do the same thing expecting different results in life. But tonight we're going to talk about purpose, because one of the things that I want you all to understand is that God has given you an assignment. So for those of you all who are blood bought believers, and you know that before you are in agreement with Jeremiah chapter 1 that says, where God tells Jeremiah that before I formed you in the womb of your mother's belly, I knew you. So you know that you are here on an assignment from God. And one thing that I understand about an assignment has a span of time. It has a deadline that must be met, right? So if you are here on an assignment, his desire is to ensure that putting you here was not a mistake, and he never makes any mistakes, right? So our goal is to move forward in our assignment with the least amount of resistance as possible. However, what I understand is that many a times we dare to do things and continue doing things out of comfort. We continue doing things because that's what we are comfortable with and what we are familiar with and what we know. But how many of you all understand that just because something is familiar doesn't mean that it is favorable to you? When you're talking about your purpose, you have to understand that your goal is to ensure that you carry out and you do the very thing that God has called you to do and serve the people that he has called for you to serve. So you don't have the time to waste. I want to know how many of you all have ever wasted time? How many of you all have ever felt like you wasted a lot of time in life? You've been given 24 hours in a day, yet you've wasted so much time. You feel like you feel like life has passed you by, or you have really allowed life to pass you by because you did not use your time wisely. Perhaps if you would have used your time wisely in your purpose, you could be further along, you could be more effective. People could have been receiving amazing results just by working with you or purchasing from you. Right? So tonight we're going to talk about making sure that you don't waste your time any longer. Stop doing the things that are not working. So one of the first things I want you to understand is this. I want you to assess in you moving forward in your purpose, and you can apply this to your life as well. I want you to assess and ask yourself, what is not working? I'm going to give you all an example. One thing that I have learned is that anytime I host an event, whether it is virtual or live, and majority of mine are virtual, one of the habits or one of the things that I am doing in my company is sitting back and going to see how did the event go? Right? Because remember, one thing that I always say, and I teach our children this, your time is very valuable. Very valuable. I tell them 2 things. Don't waste your time, and don't allow anyone to waste your time. Because money, you can make money, but time you cannot buy back. Time you cannot rewind. Time you cannot retrieve. So you have to ensure that the time that God has given you in your day, that you use it wisely. And let me just say this, sidebar, there's nothing wrong with resting. There's nothing wrong with relaxing. There's nothing wrong with recouping, because the reality of it is our body needs rest. Our minds need rest so that we can be more effective to do the things that we know that we should be doing. I will stress this because this is one thing that I share in the academy when I work with my clients. When you are building a business, you have to make sure that you create time for yourself. And I'm going to tell y'all, I learned this being a mother. I remember when our children were infants, I used to, and even like I would still do it now, right? I have a timer on my phone set for tea time. So our children have to be in the bed at a specific time during the weekday when the night before they have to go to school. And as soon as they would go to sleep, I would literally set up what I would like to call tea time. One, Dr. JaNee loves tea. I love sweet tea. And here's the thing, I have my water, right? But I love sweet tea as well as hot tea. Hot tea relaxes me, and I create time. I would create time for myself. I always notice that when I read the Bible, that people in the Bible would, you remember, God worked, but then he had a day where he rested, right? And we have to, and also they talk about the Sabbath in the Bible. So it's so important that we create time to rest. There's nothing wrong with that. But the time that you have been given throughout the day, you have to ensure that you use it wisely. So I want to ask you, I want you to assess in your purpose, in your business, in your life, what is not working? What are you trying to force to work on a strategy that is ineffective? One of the things that I do after I literally did this today, I went back and I looked at the last 3 events that I hosted virtually. And I wrote them down because I like to write. So I wrote them down on a sheet of paper because if I can write it, I can see it a whole lot better. I can type, but it's just nothing like writing to me. That's why I have this whiteboard behind me. And once I get things set up the way that I want to, I'll have the whiteboard. But I love writing. So I would literally sit down and I listed all 3 of the events on the sheet of paper and I wrote the dates. I also, and this is something for those of you all who host live events and you are doing certain things, go back and see and assess what was effective. So I literally wrote the date on there. And the reason why the date of the live event was important to me is I wanted to go back and assess to see how long did I give myself to promote the event. And I looked at how many people registered and how many people actually showed up to the event. Why is that important? Numbers do matter, right? And a lot of the times when you have more people, you usually yield the results that you desire. So I had a portion on the sheet that said registered and then those who attended. So I would write on at the top, those who registered and wrote those who attended, because not necessarily, if I'm getting tongue tied, just because someone registers doesn't necessarily mean that they will show up for an event. How do I know? I've hosted a live event in person where people have paid money and they still did not show up for whatever reason. And it happens, right? But what I did was I asked myself 3 questions. I asked myself question number 1, what worked well? So for each event, I looked and assessed, okay, this worked well, that worked well, that worked well. All of these, I listed as many things as I could think of that worked well. Whether I liked the amount of those who attended, I liked the amount of those who registered, I loved the interaction, I presented well, I got a lot of feedback and so forth. So I listed all of that information on the paper. Then I answered the question. I asked myself what did not work so well or what didn't go as well as I wanted to. And I was able to assess and identify what didn't go as well as I wanted to. And then the last question is, how can I improve? Right? So with that being said, when I ask those questions, I can identify and go back and here's the question. When I asked the question or answered the question of what worked well, why did it work well? So if I like the number of those who registered and or those who attended, then I asked myself, how did I get the registration to that level? Was it the title? Did I promote this event more than I promoted another event? So that what worked, I can do more of what worked. One thing that I understand in building a company is that you have to use your time wisely and you have to assess what worked and what didn't work. so that you can do more of what worked and less of what did not work. This is how you begin to work smarter, not harder. See, here's the reality of it. My daughter was working hard on forcing her foot into that shoe. She was working hard. But guess what was still moving? Time was still moving. We still had somewhere to be at a specific time. But she was still working hard. But guess what? In her working hard, she wasn't getting the results of getting her foot in that shoe. Answer this question for yourself. What are you busy working hard on that's not producing? Because again, a lot of us are told when you got to work hard for your money, you got to work hard. The reality of it is the Bible tells us that the work of the diligent maketh rich. One of the definitions of diligent that I know is decisive. Now, we do have to put a level of work in there, but then you have to ask yourself, you have to decide whether what I'm working on is effective or is it ineffective. Because here's the thing. Although she was working hard to put her foot in the shoe, it took all of a few seconds to loosen the shoestring and she got her foot in much quicker. What are you busy working hard on that's not yielding results for you and your purpose? It may have sounded like a good idea. It may have been something that you're comfortable with. Because here's the thing. A lot of the times, many people do continue to do things that are not effective, all because it's familiar to them and they're comfortable with it. Many people are resistant to change. Why? Because change is not comfortable. Sometimes, and a lot of times, change is not convenient. And the thought of having to change, the thought of having to do things that are inconvenient to you can bring about resistance. So it's much easier to do what comes comfortably and normally to you, but ineffective. So number one, doing the same thing that's not working, expecting, and I'm listen to my key word, doing the same thing that's not working, expecting to get or yield a different result is just plain old not smart. It's not smart. If we go back to the example of our daughter with her stuffing her foot in that shoe, she was working hard. But guess what? She wasn't getting the results that she wanted. Doing the same thing that's not working, expecting different results is not smart. It's just not smart at all. Number two, quit wasting your time doing things that are not working. Quit doing things that are wasting your time. Remember this, and I said this earlier, your time is valuable. You can always make money, but time you cannot buy back. So you have to decide how you're going to use it. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to close out because I just wanted to make this really, really quick. For those of you all who are in entrepreneurship, or those of you all who are moving in your purpose, daring to profit from your purpose, I want you to sit back and ask yourself, what am I doing? Number one, as it relates to my business and profiting from my purpose. Number two, is it working? Is it working? Answer the question for yourself, is what I'm doing working? If the answer is yes, Hi, love. How are you? It's good to see you. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining me again. So, you ask yourself the question, is this working? If the answer is no, and how do you know whether something is working? There's always fruit. There's always evidence that what you are doing is working. So you need to ask yourself, look at the results. So if your goal, so as an example, let's just say, um, whatever your goal is, you look at your goal. And then after you have done the work to get you closer to your goal, you ask yourself, did this work? Was this effective? Did I get the results that I wanted to see? If the answer is no, then why? Right? Did I need to give it more time? Because even as an example for me, with hosting live events, you want to give yourself, or those of you all who host like webinars, master classes, and so forth, you want to give yourself anywhere, I say 14 days, but anywhere from 7 to 14 days. I've given myself like 8 days. And the reason why is because I'm one of those people, let's just get it done. Like, quit like wasting time if it's like a master class or a webinar. When you're talking about meeting people in person, it takes a little bit more time and more more extra work. But if you ask yourself, did I give myself sufficient time to do what was needed to yield the results? If you did everything that was necessary and you did not see the results, then you need to ask yourself, did what I do work? And if what you did not, if what you did didn't work, then you need to do less of it. Because remember, God is strategic. And we have to make sure that we use the time that he gives us wisely. You are on an assignment in your purpose, and you want to make sure that every ounce of time that you use it wisely. Just like here for me, as an example, because I'll use me as an example. I'm going live here on YouTube, right? So one of the things that I do is I always, if you all notice, I drop a link below, and that link below is to my free gift to you, which is the 5 mistakes that women make that prevent them from profiting from their purpose. Why do I do that? That's a way for you all to connect with me a little bit further. You want to use your time wisely. Yes, I can just simply post this on Facebook, but one and the same, I would draw an audience. The audience would be present, and I can always make sure I put in a plug for you all to make sure that you get your free gift. So make sure you get your free gift. But you want to make sure that you use your time wisely and never allow anyone to abuse your time. Last thing is this: stop wasting time doing things in your business and in your life that are ineffective. And I'm going to say this: don't be so quick to resist change. I'm going to tell y'all, and we know this, change is uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar, it's not something that we're used to. But guess what? You are prepared for it. You are built for it. You stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that's uncomfortable, just like you had to learn how to brush your teeth, just like you had to learn how to walk as a toddler. How many times did you fall? How many times did you fall, but you got right back up and eventually you perfected that walk? What in your life did you have to stumble over a few times and adjust to until you perfected it? You got it right eventually. So don't resist the change. Learn to understand that you're built for it, especially if God has called you to whatever it is that you know he's called you to. He's built you for it. One thing that I truly understand, and I've heard people say this before, and it is so true. If you are daring to be financially successful, there is no money in your comfort zone. No money in your comfort zone. I actually had a coaching call today with my coach, and baby, she brought in the fire. Do you understand what I'm saying? She brought in the fire. Okay. And there's a mosquito in here. Ugh. Did I get it, Jesus? If y'all see me like doing like this, it's a mosquito in here and I'm trying to get it. But but she brought in the fire tonight, y'all. Sorry. It's a mosquito. And I don't like mosquitoes, y'all. So y'all forgive me. It's a mosquito. And I'm trying to get the mosquito. So I got distracted. But anyway, she brought in the fire and she challenged me because it was a group. We had a group call, but she was talking to me. Okay. I'm just saying like it was about me. But she challenged me, and guess what? I'm up for the challenge. So just as a heads up, make sure you are on my email list by clicking the link below. I'm going to be hosting a 5-day challenge upcoming this month, and I'm excited about it. And trust me, it is pushing me out of my comfort zone. But guess what? In order for me to be better for you, in order for me to challenge you as a coach, I got to do things that are outside of my normal. I have to do things that are outside of my comfort zone. And guess what? I'm excited about it. So I pray that you all have a phenomenal evening. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can join me anytime that I'm live. And until next time, know your worth. Good night, y'all. Bye. See you next time. Mella, I think it's pronounced Mella Caleb. Good night. Good night.